Next up, we have receivers coach Bilal Marshall.
My man.
Questions for Coach Marshall? Greg?
Very good. You trained him well.
Yeah.
So, Bilal, give us. You guys were so young, especially towards the end of last year at your position. What was the growth during the season, and then what's the growth with those youngsters as they get into their, spring of what's going to be their sophomore year?
Yeah, obviously it's an adjustment coming in when you're young. And really it's just the reps that you take, and the guys just got better and better throughout the year. This offseason they trained really well. Really just comes down to being here and being in the program and understand what it takes to be a good football player. Like, you just can't lace them up and go play a Friday night lights and just be better than everybody. You got to understand there's a lot that goes into this, and especially playing wide out, you got to understand the intricacies of playing a position and where to be, when to be there, and just all those things that just comes through reps.
Badly did, Rodney and Traylon need the off season, just the weight and strength program, and how much bigger, stronger have they got?
Yeah, both those guys, I want to say both of them put on 10 pounds of muscle, which is significant for both of them. And they're going to continue to grow. But, that strength training is not only just size, but speed too, and being able to get faster, stronger. And they feel more confident with their bodies. They're able to play more confident. They're able to play stronger. They're able to play faster because they just feel better.
How much more confident is Rodney as a receiver? I know you guys manufacture touches for him, but with the route running and all the stuff that goes into it.
Yeah, I think he's getting there. He's still not where I would like him as a route runner. He's still working through it. But the thing is that he covers up a lot of his mistakes through effort. And he plays hard, and he's not scared. I think that this summer it'll probably really start to click for him as a wide receiver. But the kid is a ball player. He's going to make plays. And the best thing he does is when he gets that ball in his hands and watch him go to work. Yeah, his progress is going well. I spoke highly of him when he first got here, and I always figured he'd be a really good player. And he's going to be a good player. Right now he's leading the room in catches throughout this spring, and been highly productive. For him, just consistent approach every day and learning what it takes to be a pro. And that's why I always talk about the guys, like, be a pro in everything that you do. And don't rely on just the time that I have for you, but come in this building when I'm not asking for you. Come work on your craft with me not around. And that's something that's going to be the next big step for him, is to really, really invest in his body and taking care of his body is where I want to see him grow.
He sort of made a huge splash last year. People in state knew about him, but outside maybe not. So, what would you think of his season, and what's he doing this spring?
Yeah, I think his season, obviously, to everybody, just exceeded expectations. But he just got something to him to where he's confident and he's gonna be there when you need him. He's gonna make a play. The moment's never too big for him, and for this spring, really trying to help him grow as a player, kind of moving him around in different positions, and he's handled it very well. When the ball shows up, he just makes plays. But the biggest thing for him is that this offseason, he really took a step in training, and I think out of everybody in my room, he probably trained the hardest this spring. So it's good to see him do that while having success and everybody praising him throughout this state. For him to remain grounded and humble and continue to work was really pleasant to see.
What's Jaden Bray giving you right now, and what's his arc?
Yeah, Jaden's gonna be a really good player. He's still raw as a receiver, and what I mean by that, he's still figuring out how to play the position. But the kid is strong. He's very strong. He's got what we call grown man strength. The guys call him Optimus Prime because he looks like a transformer out there. Just a big kid, But he's very smart, intelligent, and he plays hard, And he's going to be able to cover up a lot of his issues just by playing hard. And I think he's going to be a pleasant surprise this season for once he figures it out. Still learning the offense, as everybody that just got here, still learning the system. But I think he's going to be a really good player for us. I'm excited about him. I know Coach is excited about him. He's a really good person, which is a good thing. The team loves him. The room loves him. And he's happy to be here. He just told me that yesterday. He's really happy to be here. His mom was here this past weekend. Nothing but good things to say about that kid. So I can't wait for him to start playing fast when he understands the offense, to see what he really can do.
Last season, were we watching a star being born with Hudson? And what is it? What is the star quality in a receiver that separates the guys that are good from great?
Yeah, guys that can score touchdowns, number one. Number two, guys that are elite with the ball in their hands. And the unique thing about Hudson that a lot of people don't talk enough about is he breaks a lot of tackles. You know, I mean, think about the touchdown he had against Houston, broken tackle. Think about the touchdown he had against Duquesne, broken tackle. You know, the TCU one that got called back really was almost a broken tackle. You know, so that's a characteristic for him is that he's able to catch and take them long. I mean, we had a live period this Saturday. He took a RPO for about 65 yards. You know, broken tackle. You know, and that's kind of what sets him apart from a lot of people.
E.J. Horton's a guy that can run, obviously. How has he continued to develop as a receiver?
You know, he's really had about, I mean, we just finished with practice 7, I believe. I think he's had about really 5 strong days where he was consistent. And that's his word. That's his word for this whole year is consistent. Because I say, hey, do you just want to be a one-trick pony? Do you just want to run down the field? The answer is no, right? You want to be a complete receiver, and it's a consistent approach to everything that he does that's going to help him get there. And he's really had 5 strong days where he's not just running over top of people. He's running good routes, made some contested catches, made some really good deep contested catches downfield, which is something that we haven't seen a whole lot of from him. So for him, it's just consistency every single day. And he can be as good as he want to be. That's what I tell him all the time. You can be as good as you want to be. You can play on Sunday, you know, because you can run, and nobody can run like you on this team. So if you're able to put it together, you'll be a dude.
Speaking of consistency, who's been the most consistent guy through whatever it is, 7 practices so far? Who are guys you can count on?
Yeah, no, it's not even close. The most consistent guy in the room right now is Preston Fox. I mean, he's shown up every single day and made a play. I mean, like I said, I made the joke last year about the Honda Accord, but it's so true. He's very dependable. And for him, this offseason, he's just made such a commitment to his body and getting bigger and getting stronger that he's playing like it now. He's not falling all over the place. He's not getting moved off his line on the line of scrimmage. He's really doing everything that he's supposed to do and making plays. He's the most productive in the room this spring.
Development of Jarrell Williams.
Yeah, Jarrell's getting better, and he's got some flexibility at being able to play inside and outside. He's been better this spring as well. He's gotten faster. He's gotten more flexible, which is something that he needed to work on this off season. So he's able to run better routes and be able to create some separation. You know, so for him, he's got to keep making those steps to be a player.
At this time last year, there was a lot of talk about drops and early last season and like, where do you stand on that now, and what have you done to correct that? You know,
everything about I talk about a lot is consistency, right? And you know, there's a circuit that we do every single day in catching balls. You know, this off season, you know, the guys. I mean, we had some guys catch over in an 8-week period, catch over about 4,000 balls. You know, and I'm not talking about tennis balls. I'm not talking about just standing in front of the jugs machine. I make them do actual drills. You know, to work on catching, and it's something that we've been pretty good at. Really, more towards the back half of the season. Early in the season, we had some issues, but really fixed it. Something that I'm really not concerned about with this group. I'm really not.
C.J. Cole's been a very good special teams player for this club in recent years. But is he closer to playing wide receiver and true game action?
Yeah, all these guys are making steps, and CJ, you know, he's a good role player, right? And he knows it, and it's not something that that's a knock or anything like that. But he's a good role player. He's going to continue. And the beautiful thing about him, I've been able to watch his growth since 2020, and he's really stepped up as a leader. You know, he runs our FCA for our student athletes, and the guys listen to him and he works. You know, so for him, just every single day he's getting better. So, I mean, I would not be surprised in some point, in some capacity, but he is who he is. You know.
Team reps at the end of each practices. It seems like, is that by design? It looks like you guys are playing a lot of football.
Yeah, I mean that's more of a question for the head ball man, but he. Yeah, but the good thing about team ball is that everything's got to go together to make a play work, you know. So, like, for instance, we had team pass today. Well, we could play 7-on-7 all day, and the quarterback could sit back there and just throw the rock all over the place. But you really got to be able to move in the pocket, find your wideouts on the run. Wideouts got to be able to understand when it's cover zero and timing and depth and spacing exactly where they need to be. So it is more beneficial to get a lot of teamwork if you can. Yeah, so we have been. And I think it's good for everybody, you know, because snap cadence and it's just a whole lot that goes into a successful play. So playing the team ball has been good for us.
And then this game-specific stuff, too. a lot of game-specific stuff. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, that training kicks in. They were mentioning the Baylor game last year when Brandon Yates had to go in. You guys practice that stuff.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
And it's really credit to Coach Brown. He just puts us in a lot of situations, and for football, it's situational awareness. Like there's always something going on, right? There's P and 10, first play of a possession, right? There's second and long, there's third and long, there's third and medium, red zone, score zone, backed up. There's so many situations that you play in a football game that if you don't work those mechanics of that situation, you're not gonna be worth anything on Saturday, So understanding where you are on the field, because just for instance, like for a wideout, right? You run, it's 3rd and 6, and you got a hitch route at 5, right? It'll behoove you probably to get 6 yards to get us first down. So just having that awareness is something that coach is always harping on. You want to be a smart football team, so you got to have situational awareness and know what down it is all the time, what's the distance, how much time is on the clock, what can and not do. Do we need a field goal? Do we need a touchdown? So all those situations that we work on every single day. Great question.
This is going to be the first time in at least a couple of years where the starting quarterback is going to be the same and the bulk of the receivers are going to be the same.
Yeah.
How much does that help?
Well, it helps it tremendously because we're able to do more and at an earlier point in spring camp. We're able to do more formations. We're able to do more shifts. We're able to do more, just a lot of window dressing the plays, and the guys can handle it because they know what to do. And again, to talk about position flexibility, I've been able to train more guys to play inside and outside. So they all know the route combinations. They all know where they're supposed to be. So it just give everybody a little bit more flexibility, more trust. They're on the same page with the quarterback more often than not. It helps tremendously.
All the stuff you talked about with your players from one season to another and improvements and their off-season progress, is it, do you do the same for yourself as a coach, trying
Yeah.
to figure out how to go from one year to the next?
Yeah, 100%. I think, for every position coach, hopefully has goals and aspirations, and they want to get better, because if you're not getting better, what are you doing? So, for me, I want to take the next step and just learning more football as this goes. Still young, just turned 30, but yes, I'm trying to grow as well, in every facet of my life.
I don't know if it's yourself, a conversation you have with yourself or Neil, but like, I don't know, is there an off-season plan for you? Like, I'd like to get better with my guys doing these things, or like, I need to have a better drill in place this one. What's the off-season improvement plan like for an assistant?
Yeah, for me, and really for my guys, is just we want to become better route runners, and at the top of routes and winning at the top of routes. So there's a lot of things I've been studying, drill-wise. I see some things on Twitter that I'll take, and implement for my guys. And don't just rely off of a lot of things that I've done in the past. Just try to go out and find more drills, try to find more ideas for other guys, because there's a saying, the good ones borrow, the great ones steal. So I try to find some things just to get better for myself.
As a GA, did you have big plans like, man, when I get my own room, it's going to look like this? And then now that you have your own room for a couple of years, have you just kind of kicked out half of it, or focus on a small, like it was too much, now it's much more fine point?
Yeah, for me, back before I started coaching in college, I really kind of laid out a 10-year plan for myself and just kind of some milestones I really wanted to hit. And obviously I had the pleasure of having 2 really great mentors throughout this process to kind of help me through some things. But to answer your question, yes, I think as anybody, and for you guys as well, if you don't plan ahead, then you're going to be wrong. You gotta have a plan ahead. You gotta have something that you're looking forward to, something that you're trying to attain, to continue to get better, right? And I talk to the guys all the time about, hey, have goals, and it's not just football goals. Have goals in academics. Have goals in life in general, so that you're always working towards something and not just being stagnant every day.
His question, this is your second year, and wide receiver coaches here, at least up until that, have been almost a 1-year deal. This is your second year with these guys now. You know them better. They obviously know you better. They know how you coach. What are you seeing different from this second year of these guys having the same guy?
Yeah, I think it's a trust level. I'm able to coach them in a way in this day and age that it's hard to sometimes. Like I can go ballistic, and they know it's not coming from a place of hate or anger. It's more of a place of love, because I want to see them get better. and they know that, you know. So I think with that too, you know, guys want to play for you, you know, and they want to go the extra mile for you, which I think is a big thing in this day and age. Like guys wanting to play for their coach and wanting to go the extra mile to see them happy, you know. And because I've been on the other side of that, you know, having a great receivers coach that you want to go, you know, make happy basically based off of what you're doing. And the guys, and because the whole rooms for the most part stayed together this off season, they're closer than they've ever been before. Like I said, so this is going into my 4th year in the program, you know, with a break in between. I've been able to see 2 sides of a wide receiver room, and this room is like very close. You know, I mess with them all the time. You know, I was on vacation back in February, and I was bored. You know, me and my wife just sitting on the beach. I just said, hey, what are you guys doing in the group chat? And they all send me a picture. They're all at Preston's house hanging out. You know, they all send me a group picture together, which is something that's rare in a wide receiver room because everybody wants the ball, right? You know, I hope they want the ball. You know, I don't want no wideouts that don't want the ball. But, you know, for them to be able to root for one another, push each other, cheer for one another, hold each other accountable is something that you just don't see a whole lot of, especially from a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds.
Wow, you guys coach the players. Who coaches the coaches?
Coach Brown.
In other words, you're a young coach. How much do you draw on people you played for? What has that meant to you? And how much is it trial and error? How much is it Coach Brown?
Yeah, there is obviously some things that's trial and error, and that's what practice is for, to try some things out, to do some different things. But, yeah, Coach Brown does a great job of holding us accountable and holding us to the standard and pushing me. You know, I've been fortunate enough to be the one guy in the whole building that coaches the position that the head ball coaches played. So, you know, that's like his little baby. But, you know, he pushes me, and but he also allows me to have some freedom to do some things on my own and experiment with some things. Is what he allows me to do.
Him being a former wide receiver, does he really harder on you, maybe, shall we say, than others? Or?
He's not that bad. I'm just being a little dramatic, but he is definitely more attentive because he knows what he wants. He knows what it looks like, and for the most part, we're on the same page with a lot of things because I've been in the program for a while.
Well, you talked about cross-training wide receivers and slot receivers. How difficult is that for them to adjust to? What's the biggest, you know, obstacle they have to overcome? Are there guys that just can't do both? They're either one or the other? Yeah,
I think for number one, it's a skill set, you know, that you look for. Most of the guys that play inside, you got to be twitchy because a lot of things move, you know, post snap, and you got to be able to adjust on the fly. But I truly believe being able to play inside and outside is more on the teacher than it is the player. If I can make it make sense for them, they're able to go do it and play fast. Like, for instance, I've been experimenting with Hudson inside, Jarrell inside, a little bit of Traylon Ray inside. And we've had very low MAs. What I mean by that, missed assignments when doing that. So if I can make it simple for them where they understand it and they're able to play fast, you know, it doesn't matter who I put where. You know, the pieces are the pieces. You know, hit your spots and let's go. You know, so it all comes down to if I can teach it to them and keep it simple for them, they'll understand it. And for the most part, you know, that's what, as coaches, we want to make it simple for our guys so they can play fast. We don't want guys that think.
Let me go back to the who coaches the coaches theme. What's the best lesson you've learned from who about coaching?
Say that one more time.
What was the best lesson you've learned about coaching, and who from, and how long has it stuck with you?
Yeah, the big thing for me is preparedness, like being prepared for meetings, being prepared for your players. The worst thing as a coach is trying to coach on the fly and, you know, trying to make stuff up on the fly, which is something that you should never do as a coach. You should be prepared for your players so that way they get every ounce of it that they can. If you're not prepared, they're going to end up playing slow. They play slow, we lose games, you know. So for me, just being prepared every single morning, like, I mean, Coach Scott, he gets here about 4:30 every morning. That's something I'm not going to do, but I get here early and plan my day out, or I stay late and play the night before, playing the next day. You know, just to make sure that I have everything exactly the way I want it, so that you're not coaching on the fly.
You said 2 mentors?
Yeah.
Jared
and Neil.
Neil, okay.
Yeah, Jared and Neil.
Okay, anything else for Coach?
Just one more. That
Okay.
you were, I want to say, you were out of coaching for a little bit, right? Before you actually got into the GA, it was something business, right?
Yeah. So I finished playing ball at 17. I was working in sales 18, 19, and early 20. I was coaching high school in 19, and then 2020 moved up here.
In sales, I guess at some point the switch goes on. You want to be a coach, right?
Yeah.
Did you find like in other walks of life? I'm not saying in sales you were the coach, but like you just had that natural. It seemed like you transitioned very well to coaching when you hit high school at a pretty high level down there, right?
Yeah.
And then here at GA, when you left, everybody liked you, and then bang, you're VMI, and you're back here in a year or two.
Yep.
Did you find in just like your daily, it was there, you knew it. You just had to figure out when to get into it, how to get into it.
Well, it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
And kind of, how it all came to fruition. First of all, 2016, my last year playing in college, Jared always would tell me that I need to play, I need to coach. He would always say that over and over and over. And I kind of just brushed him off, like wasn't really thinking about it. And it really wasn't until 2018 where he was coaching at Duke at the time, and me and 3 of my other wideouts that I graduated with, we went to go visit him on a trip because he wanted us. He had a bunch of young wideouts at the time at Duke, and he kind of wanted us to show them the way, how we played and how we practiced, because we had a really good room my senior year. And it kind of bit me right then and there. I was kind of like, man, that was kind of fun. And later on that year, I was back home in Miami, and they were playing the University of Miami, and he. I asked him for some tickets, and he had me come to the hotel, talk to the guys again that night, and again, it just kind of, I just kind of felt it in the air, like, man, I think this is what I wanted to do, and I called him up and told the coach I want to coach, and verbatim he said it's about damn time, and so he kind of just helped me with the steps to get to the program, and obviously he became the OC here, and he brought me along with him. That's kind of the short story of how it all came to fruition.
What kind of head coach will he be? I guess he had an interim stint at Purdue,
Yep.
but what kind of head coach is he going to be at Troy?
Well, if it was anything like the last 6 games of my career, those players down there are blessed, and they're lucky because it was the most fun I ever had playing football, to be honest. But he's going to be very demanding. He's going to have a lot of energy. He's going to have a lot of fun every single day, but he's going to be very demanding of his players. And but it's all going to come from a place of love. And anybody that's had the pleasure of playing for him will say that word. Like, when you hear Jared Parker, you hear love, So they're going to be blessed down there at Troy. I'm happy for them, and they're going to do great things. We've seen this story years ago.